What if one of the most ambitious open world survival sandbox games ever made was closer to release than we possibly thought? Light No Fire, Hello Games' latest project, has been shrouded in mystery since its jaw-dropping reveal in December of 2023. Since then, we've had no updates, no new trailers, no new concrete information, just a boatload of silence. But if you happen to look a little closer, you can find some clues. So in this video, I'll be breaking down everything we know so far alongside dissecting those patterns, theories and leaks that may actually reveal just when Light No Fire is coming. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get stuck in. Let me just do a quick recap of the basics. Light No Fire was first revealed at the Game Awards in December of 2023, and it immediately stood out for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's Hello Games' first new major game for a number of years. Secondly, it's a fantasy survival game with RPG mechanics set on a world that is the literal size of Earth, which is just a mind-blowing goal to try and achieve without it suffering from a number of issues that No Man's Sky has with the lack of depth. On top of that, it is a multiplayer game that allows players to explore, discover, build and survive together with players across the world. We can climb mountains as tall as Everest, dive into the depths of the oceans as deep as the Pacific, ride dragons, use magic, get involved with a whole host of other game mechanics as well. There's no wonder Hello Games described it as their most ambitious game yet, even considering they have a game the size of a literal universe on their roster. But here's the thing, since that trailer and game announcement, we've heard nothing, nip, zip, nada. So naturally, fans, including myself, start digging for more information after all that time. Right, let's dive into the history of Hello Games releases, mainly around No Man's Sky. So No Man's Sky was announced in 2013 and released in 2016, so there was a 3-year gap, and when it released, it wasn't in a great state at all. Now, I'm not saying the same is going to happen with Light No Fire, but those are just the facts of No Man's Sky's release. Next, it's important to note that Hello Games have been developing Light No Fire for a number of years, likely even up to maybe 5 years before they introduced it into the world in 2023, so even when No Man's Sky updates were still getting rolled out at a rate of knots. In fact, on the grand scheme of things, No Man's Sky major updates have been slowing down since around 2022, which can indicate that some of the team at Hello Games have totally shifted their focus over to Light No Fire. And Sean Murray himself has been incredibly quiet on Light No Fire, barring a brief mention of it in a No Man's Sky Worlds Update deep dive. There have been no big interviews this time around, there's no new tweets directly on the project itself, but that could be him trying to avoid the same issues that plagued the No Man's Sky release way back when. I wouldn't blame him for doing that, to be honest. They don't want history to repeat itself, but with how secretive they've been before, they may actually mean something could be brewing with regards to the Light No Fire. And that's where things start to get a little bit fun and interesting, because the community have seemingly starting to piece together little things. Whether they're correct or not is a totally different question, but let's dive into them anyway. Now obviously a few fans noticed that Hello Games registered a new domain ahead of the trailer release, but aside from that, a lot of the community are predicting that we'll get a surprise update at the Summer Game Fest in 2025, which is due to take part very, very soon on June the 6th. Now, if you're watching this video after that has happened and they didn't announce any new update or show any new footage, then I'm going to be equally as disappointed as you are. But anyway, there are rumours of Steam DB changes behind the scenes, which could suggest Hello Games may be looking at a closed alpha release of the game, which is already underway. Again, yet to be confirmed, it's just speculation at this point, but that would be pretty cool and understandable as well. Because don't forget, Hello Games love a surprise. Now, No Man's Sky launched without traditional marketing, and the updates for it are usually announced via a Sean Murray emoji merely a couple days before they release them. So there's a good chance they're doing something like that for Light No Fire, though I suspect they'll leave it just more than a few days between release date announcement and the actual release. So what if Hello Games aren't actually aiming for a traditional launch at all for Light No Fire? Could they be dropping it into early access, a bit like Baldur's Gate 3, Valheim or Palworld before it? Could it be part of a Game Pass or PlayStation Plus surprise? Who knows at this point, but one thing is for sure, they've been testing out features that are going to be part of Light No Fire in No Man's Sky. How do we know this? Well, Sean Murray himself has, he said it himself basically, So this includes things like the improved atmospherics, the massively deeper oceans, new enemies, like both from the Worlds and the Relics updates, amongst a few other things. And what better place to test Light No Fire features than in a live game like No Man's Sky? And does this mean that Light No Fire is closer than we think? Because if they're testing these live features in a live game, does that mean they're complete? Who knows? But let's talk about an actual release window or a release date for Light No Fire, because that's what we all really want to know, isn't it? But as of the recording of this video, we don't currently have that information. Nor do we know when we're going to get that information, actually. But watch us have a date announced as soon as I put this video out on my YouTube channel. Anyway, if you want my prediction, is I think we're going to get some more information on Light No Fire in a couple of weeks at the Summer Game Fest in June. Now, why do I think that? Well, mainly because it's just been about 18 months since we last had any substantial concrete information or footage of Light No Fire. And if that happens, that definitely points to me to a late 2025 release date, especially if it's a staggered launch with maybe an early access first or a beta. Another reason why I think the end of 2025 is looking more likely is because the Grand Theft Auto 6 release got pushed back to summer of 2026. And you may be saying, well, these games are totally different, so why does that even matter in the first place? Well, it matters because Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be the biggest game release ever without a shadow of a doubt, and if you disagree with me, well, I'm sorry, you are wrong. Millions upon millions upon millions of players are going to be flooding to Grand Theft Auto 6 when it comes out. Media from all sorts of industries are going to be covering it constantly for a very long time. And a lot of game releases that come out around the same time as that are going to fall well under the radar because of GTA 6. I can actually find a reasonably recent example of that. So look at Titanfall 2 from a few years ago. It released around about the same time as Battlefield 1, which was excellent, and that year's Call of Duty, which was shit, but Call of Duty games are massive. And a lot of people have forgotten about Titanfall 2. We haven't had any sequels to it because of the poor sales, but the main problem was its release window, other than, well, with other gaming giants, not because it was a bad game. In fact, the opposite is true. Titanfall 2 was an excellent game, and I'd love a sequel, but anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Like, Hello Games could go full stealth mode here and just drop the game on Steam at a very short notice, a bit like how Oblivion Remastered just popped out of nowhere almost, and here it is, you can play it. That's not out of the question either, though my gut still says the end of 2025, but with us getting information this summer. I'd also love to hear your theories as well, so please let me know when you think it's going to be released in the comments section, and more importantly, why you think it's going to be released at that time. And one final thing to note, I wouldn't be surprised if Hello Games did a staggered platform release as well, so they may drop it on Steam for PC players, before then dropping it on the latest PlayStation and Xbox consoles. But I certainly hope they don't do that, because I don't have a PC that's going to be up to running the damn thing, but it's not out of the question. And you know what, out of curiosity, and seeing as AI is all the rave right now, I was curious what both ChatGPT and Google's Gemini thought about the release date for the game. So I'm going to sum up both of those. And I'll start off with ChatGPT first, because it thinks there's going to be a release window of late 2025 to early 2026. And it gave some reasons. And they included Hello Games being a small team, and this project has likely been in development since at least 2019 to 2020, so overlapping with No Man's Sky updates, which puts the total dev time at around about 5 or 6 years, if not more. And that aligns with their timeline for No Man's Sky and the fact that they tend to announce early and remain silent until close to launch. No Man's Sky was similar in the fact that it had major info drops 6 months before its actual release. They were hoping to have a repeat of that release with Light No Fire. As for Gemini, it also believes the game will release in the same window, so late 2025 to early 2026, and for similar reasons, but it also added they'll have lessons from No Man's Sky's rocky launch due to the early overhype and a lengthy marketing campaign. It mentions it's widely believed that Hello Games are taking a much more measured approach with Light No Fire, and that seems pretty evident to me. So they'll be having a shorter marketing cycle, but critically it mentions it is very, very unlikely that Hello Games will announce a release window or a release date until they are absolutely certain that they can meet that date. Genuinely, I'm inclined to agree with both of these. But to wrap this up, whenever Light No Fire launches, one thing is for sure, this is shaping up to be one of the most innovative, fully open world survival games ever made, and I'll be covering every trailer, update and detail as soon as it drops, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if you don't want to miss out on that. And again, tell me in the comments, when do you think we're going to finally get our hands on Light No Fire? Are there any clues that I've missed? Something that I've overlooked perhaps? But anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I hope to catch you in my next ones.